Gentleman from Iowa, Mr. King, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To direct my first question to Mr. Rosenstein. Mr. Rosenstein, I know that you're a constitutionalist, and I think about the framework we're dealing with here in this Article 1 asking questions of Article 2. And I would ask is, in our role of oversight here, in our Article 1 role of oversight, is there any information that's housed within the executive branch, anywhere in the executive branch, that would be permanently and forever unavailable to the oversight of the United States Congress?
You know, I don't know the answer to that, Congressman, with regard to the information in the Justice Department. There are certain categories of information, as Director Ray said, that we typically wouldn't release, and my experience is typically the Congress doesn't want to know, for example, the identities of confidential sources. I think what's significant you need to understand is Director Ray and I don't know the names of the confidential sources. To the extent we ever hear them, they're masked. And so there is information that I think it would be inappropriate.
If I could just zero in on that just a little bit, because what I'm trying to get at here is that the public is never going to have confidence in this broader issue that we've been talking about for so long until as much information as possible can have sunlight on it. And Congress is not going to have confidence until we actually get information that we don't have to pull and try to fill in the blanks and then fill in the blanks of redactions, et cetera. And so I would submit that there's no information that's housed within the executive branch in whatever form, even if it's just institutional knowledge, that would forever be foreclosed from access to the United States Congress.
Yes, sir. I agree. Forever is a long time. But I certainly am sympathetic, and I understand your concern. There are certain
So do you generally agree with me on that statement? So
there are certain types of information, Congressman, that we've developed protocols with the intelligence committees where the intelligence agencies will actually provide briefings, at least at a high level, for information that's not further distributed. I know this is a challenging issue.
And I'm aware of that, and I'm not really going to take you down into specifics. I just want to get to this point that,
yes, sir.
And I'll assert this, and you can disagree with me if you like, or under the right format, whether it's in a SCIF, whether it's the people that are appropriate members of the committees of jurisdiction, Congress must eventually have access to all information that's housed within the executive branch of government, or that empowers the executive branch then to be beyond oversight. Would you agree with that?
There is an executive privilege, Congressman, and as you said, we don't want to have a constitutional debate.
Okay, let me turn that executive privilege back.
Right.
Again, what if the President of the United States just simply issued an order that all information relevant here that Congress is asking for is now declassified and directed you to release that to the United States Congress, in whether it be Select Committee on Intel here or oversight? Would you then abide by such an order?
And what I regret that you're not seeing going on behind the scenes is that Director Ray and I have been in regular contact with Director Coates and with the CIA regarding some of these requests, and our goal is to provide as much information as we can to the oversight committees.
But I'm not really hearing the answer to my question,
yes,
Mr. Rosenstein, which is if the President declassified and gave a direct order to simply come clean with all things of interest to Congress's oversight on these topics, would you abide by such an order?
Yes, but we'd have to talk about, when you say all information, I think Director Ray and Director Coates would presumably consult with the President.
I'll yield to the caveats. I just wanted to get to the point.
Yes.
Then there is a way, but that may be the only way that Congress is going to get this information necessary to put this whole jigsaw puzzle together and first have the confidence that we actually know what all went on. But just to move on, you gave the directive to Robert Mueller, and can you paraphrase to us the directive he has for that mission?
I don't want to paraphrase it, sir. I actually have in front of me a copy of the order, which assigns him to conduct a full and thorough investigation of the Russian government's efforts to interfere in the 2016 presidential election.
That's directly from the order that you've just
yes,
read?
Sir.
Thank you. Now that is available to the public, and I thank you for that. How many FISA judges are there?
Pardon me?
How many FISA judges are there?
I do not know the answer to that, sir.
And do you know how many FISA judges might have signed off on warrants relevant to this investigation? How many different judges?
You know, my understanding, there was information that was declassified, and I believe that the information declassified indicated one application renewed 3 times, so a total of 4. And I believe there were 4 different judges, but I don't know that for a fact.
Okay, and but would their names be public?
The names of the judges?
Yes.
I don't know the answer to the
Okay,
identities of
I've
the
got one
judges
more
in the FISA
question I want to
court.
ask before I run out of time, and that is, who was in the room with Hillary Clinton on July 2nd, 2016?
Lord.
We now know Peter Strzok was one of them. Who else was in that room?
I only know from whatever's in the report. I have no personal knowledge.
And do you have a way of finding that information out?
Well, that's the point that I've actually tried to make to several of your colleagues is, you know, for something that happened before I got there and I didn't have personal involvement, I need to rely on other people to tell me the information, so I wouldn't know any more than what's in the
We
report.
must know that if we're going
The
to get to
time
the
of the
bottom of
gentleman
this.
has expired.
I thank the chairman.
Mr. Chairman, may
Yield back.
I just respond briefly, and I recognize, Mr. King, that your time is limited.
Ms. recognized.
But what I want to assure you is we do think